up in this tower. And when the ship would come by, as all y'all been to Florida and places, you know what I'm talking about. The drawbridge would raise and open up, and the ship would go through, and you let it back down. He had a little boy that he loved so much. They were together all the time. They were just close. And sometimes he'd take his little boy to work with him, and this day he took him to work with him, and they were in the tower. It became lunchtime, and they were hungry. And the gate was up and letting a boat go through. So he told his son, he said, we'll go down and get my lunch box and we'll have lunch. They were walking across this catwalk way up in the air. And this was where a train crossed, not automobiles, but a train. He heard a whistle in the distance and he froze in his tracks. It wasn't supposed to be, but there was a train coming. And he told his little boy, he said, you stand right here, and I'll be back, because you can't run fast enough. I've got to get back and let that down. He said, that train's coming. Before the train come around the bend, he got the bridge down, and the train went whistling by. But before that happened, he looked down into the gears of this mechanism that does this. And his little boy had fallen off the catwalk, and there he lay in the midst of those gears. He was injured, but he knew he had a choice to make. Hundreds of people on that train would die. He closed his eyes and put his hands over his eyes and pushed the lever in to let the bridge down. And as the train went by, he saw one couple people sitting playing cards. He saw another one reading the newspaper. Another was having dinner. Another one was eating an ice cream cone. And he screamed out at the train. He said, don't you people know that I gave my son that you wouldn't have to die? I wonder if Jesus is not looking down today and saying, world, as you go here and you go there, you forget my house, you forget my teachings. Have you forgotten that I gave my son for your privilege to go to church? Amen? Have you forgotten I gave my son? Don't you know that my son died that you could have life? As we get a song this morning, I want to tell you the good news. Jesus died on the cross that you could have life. Life goes by so swiftly. Only yesterday, I was a little boy in grade school. A few days later, I was in the military. A few days later, and there I got married. A few days later, we had children. Just a few days later, they married off and left us. And a few days later, I find I'm standing here this morning, and some people call me an old man. But it got here so quick. And I look back on the days that I've traveled. I know I don't have that many to go. But there's one thing I do know. However the devil fights me, however many mistakes I make, I'll ask God to forgive me, but I'm not giving up. I'm going to make heaven my home. If you have a cloth you want anointed, you want to be anointed, or if you don't know God this morning, you're covered up by troubles that you don't know. You have no hope. Why don't you come to Jesus? That's the only hope you'll ever find. Amen.